Hey guys, today I want to show you one of my favorite techniques for retouching floors in studio shots where you've got bulk images to retouch. So this is something that I used to do one file at a time when I was using, before I discovered the beauty of Lightroom. I would do this all in Photoshop, and I would have hundreds of files of models on white backgrounds where the floor, it's virtually impossible to keep the floor clean. It's usually got little scuff marks and all sorts of things. So yeah, I would just do them all one by one. I got pretty quick at it, but still, it was just the most boring task in the world, and that's, I think, where I developed my habit for binge watching. I think I got several seasons of The Sopranos in while I was retouching files. But then I discovered Lightroom, and I actually discovered this technique, which I actually invented myself. I don't know if anyone else has done it as well, but I made the discovery, and it changed my life and just saves me so much time, because this is probably one of the most boring tasks that a photographer has to do, but unfortunately necessary, because you don't want to be giving back files where the floor is scuffed and there's marks. So I think it's a good idea that you always give back files that look pristine, and that you're not giving the client extra work. So I've got like a whole series of image. Basically, I try and keep my models in exactly the same spot, and I plan that. I do that deliberately now, because I know that it's like, once I've got their feet planted in the one spot, I ask them to not move around, unless like it's important that action is part of the shot. But in this series of shots, it was all about capturing the character, and so like, it was okay that he kept himself in the same spot. And if I'm doing different people through the course of the day, I'll have maybe a small pencil mark or something on the floor, and just line them up so that they're dead center in the frame, and it just makes life so much easier, and it can save so much time. So like, if you can do as much of that as possible, pre-think that in advance, you're going to save yourself so much time in the future. So I've got my shot here. The first thing I'm going to do is I need to do a white balance on this shot. So I've got a couple of options. I've got, like, the actual suit itself is probably a good mid-grey, so I'm going to do my white balance off that. If I didn't have the grey of the suit, I could probably use the white shirt as well. So, and if like, a good little hack is, if you can't find anywhere in your shot to do a white balance off, and you just want a neutral tone, generally the whites of people's eyes are a good place to use as a white balance. So that might work as well. So all right, so we've got this shot, and do a white balance over the lapel of the suit, which is like a nice neutral tone there. And just give that a click, and it's not changed it much at all, I don't think. Let's have a look at the import. It's just taken a bit of magenta out of the shot. It's added a little bit of green. So, like, I'm not sure if you can see that in the before and after. It's very subtle, but I was pretty close. So that's good. So I'm happy with that. The white balance is nice and neutral. Then I just want to tweak my image. Now, for something like this, which is going to be a publicity still, I don't try not to get too fancy with my edit, and I don't want to be creating something that's too grungy looking. I just want to maybe sort of open my shadows a little bit. That's probably the first thing I do, just to give it, just like open them up slightly, a bit more detail there in the shadows. And the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure I've got a really good black. So just zoom back out. So I've got, what I do is I click on the black slider and hold down the Option key. And as I'm sliding, I'm just sliding across to the left until a pixel or two comes in. You're just seeing there black coming in in the bottom of the frame, you just see a couple of, and like if you want to get a really good black, you might want to go a bit further. That's too far. So you just want to be just getting a couple of black pixels so that there is a decent black point in the image. So that's there. And then I'll do the same with the white, just to get a couple of spots of white so there's a good white in the shot. And then I might just, I always like to knock back saturation by about 10 points, increase my vibrance, and I'm just going to give a bit shadows a bit more as well. Alright, so I think the blacks are too heavy. I'm going to take those back just a little bit. So I've just got a few specks there, and I think that's enough. So let's have a look at where we started. So it's not a huge deal, but I think that's enough, and I might just give it a little bit in the mid-tones, which is clarity. Maybe just give it like 11, and I think that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. So if I really like a preset, or if I really like the actions or an edit that I've done, or I know that I'm going to be creating more of those, I tend to save them as a preset. So like you've got your preset slider up here, you can press the plus button, and you'll get a drop down menu. You can name your preset. So I might just call this one white demo for the sake of today. Actually, I'm going to call it Mad Men. I actually like to get creative with my the names of my presets. It just makes me happy, and I like to keep all my presets in different bundlings so that I don't get them mixed up. So there's a lot of the member ones separate to the portrait presets, separate to my black and whites, and so I've got like a whole section where I store all my client presets. So if the same client books me again in 3 months' time, I can just go back and actually edit their images exactly the same way as I created them for the last batch, without having to sort of work it all out again. So it just, or if someone orders an image, an extra shot sort of 6 months down the track, you've got the preset there, you can just like whack it on quickly and job done. So I'm going to put it in the client presets folder, and then you've got the option to add all of these, apply all and copy all the settings. So as a general rule, I copy everything across that I've created for this preset. So you just click on create, and then you can see that in my drop down menu in my client presets, there it is. So I've got my Mad Men now that it's been saved in there. And if you want, you've got your little preview screen up in the top left hand side, and you can go through and see what they'll all look like when I can apply any of the other presets. And they all look pretty terrible because they're not designed for that image. So alright, so I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is actually apply this setting to all the other images that I'm wanting to retouch at the moment. So I just go ahead and select them all, and then just down here in the bottom right hand side, you've got a button that says sync. So basically if I click on this, it's going to copy all the adjustments that I've just done on this image and apply them to all of these images. So click sync, and then I can actually also just choose to only copy across partial settings, and this is handy when particularly local adjustments, which are the brush tool. If the base of all my images, I wanted them to all look the same, then I would just copy and apply the base settings, which is what I just copied for Mad Men. But some images, like you might decide that there was a spot on the side of someone's face that you wanted to retouch using the spot healing, spot removal, or the healing brush, but that only applies to a couple of images. So you'd never tick the local adjustment brush, because that's going to uh, make you using your spot healing and things like that. It'll be all over the place. So that one I tend to leave out. So I'm just going to go ahead and synchronize all of those, and it's going to now apply all the settings of this file to every single all the other files. So now they're all the same. So I can do before and after. They're all exactly the same. So that in Lightroom alone is why this is why I start my editing in Lightroom, because it allows me to batch process like that. So before I discovered Lightroom, I used to do batch processing in Photoshop, where I would create an action and do it that way, but I just think this is so much better. So once I've selected once I've applied that to all my files, the next thing I want to do, I'm just going to make sure that I've got them. I don't think I no. So I selected an image in the middle of the frame. So what I'm going to do now is select that one, pick all the ones that I've missed, and now I'm going to sync all of those as well. So all the images are now exactly the same, and they've all had the Mad Men preset applied. Okay, so we'll start at the start. Alright, so let's have a look at the floor here. So this is probably a typical floor scenario. So what we've got is a combination of, this is guff on my, this is dust on my sensor. These are scuff marks on the floor that are really hard to get rid of. They just build up over the day. This is the mark of tape that I use as a mark to get people to stand around, so that I know that they're always in the same spot, and then more scuff marks. So I want to get rid of those. So I can sit here and painstakingly retouch them all, but the beauty of this is they're all in roughly the same spot. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my healing brush out, or my clone, and I'm going to clone that out. Just make sure that the opacity is, we'll just feather it a little bit. Alright, so got rid of that. There's a little mark next to it. And I think that's pretty much it for the dirty floor. So, and we'll just get rid of this little spot here. Alright, so that's it. So that's that. Now the rest of it is probably, we can get rid of that. It's just that the floor is slightly underexposed compared to the rest of the lighting on the model's body. So basically when I'm working, I've got two large rectangle softbox that are acting as fill light, and then I've got one octa in the middle. So what happens is the top part, it is always well lit to about the knees, and then it starts to fall off. So the floor is generally about half a stop darker than the top half, which I don't mind as a shot. I mean, I prefer that there's a bit more texture at the bottom, but what happens is the scuff marks show up and things like that. So something that I might do sometimes is I bring in an extra light, and I'll actually light up the floor to give it like another half a stop of exposure, so it's evenly lit from top to bottom, and that sort of saves a lot on the retouching as well. But what I want to do now is I've retouched the tape off the floor and the couple of marks. What I want to do now is I'm going to bring in my graduated filter, And I'm going to actually add a filter to the bottom half just to clean up that floor in one go. So with the graduated filter, the direction that you go in is the direction that it's going to add the filter. So if I started from here and slid it down, it's going to apply the filter to the top of the frame, and then it graduates to the bottom. So I want to go from bottom to top, so the filter is at the bottom and then it graduates off the top of the frame. So we go this way, and just sort of, you want it to sort of start falling off. So it's getting the bulk of it up to about his ankles, and then it kind of starts to taper off at about his knees. So once we've set it up, I'm going to put the overlay on so you can see. So that's the area that we're going to be affecting. So at the moment, nothing is happening. I haven't done anything. I'm just showing you the area that I'm going to be trying to lighten and affect, and it's the area overall. So it's about half a stop. So what I want to do is just maybe open up the shadows, and I'm just going to turn the grid off, the overlay off, so you can see what's happening, and add a bit of exposure and add a bit of white. Okay. And then it's basically just tweaking that until it matches in, and maybe just picking up on the black, just to pick up on the, as we lose a little bit of the black in the shoe. And just adding a bit of white there. So if you toggle on and off, we can see that we've actually cleaned up the floor quite nicely there, gotten rid of everything, and it's actually looking quite good. Just going to zoom in a little bit, just see how that's looking. And we can probably, so basically what that has done is it's evened out the floor. We can also now add the brush, and I can actually go in and just clean it up a little bit more, just by going around those areas and lightening it up. So I just sort of turn the flow down and the density down, and I just go around and clean it up like that. And it's, you can, like, if you've found that your white, the background isn't as white as you would like, you can go around and just sort of just give it a bit of a clean up as well. So I'll show you where I've added. That's looking pretty good, I think. So if I'm happy with that, what I do is I'm going to copy everything, including my local brush adjustments, and I can choose which ones they are. So I'm going to choose everything, and I've also got spot removal tagged as well, and I'm going to copy all of it, and now I'm going to actually sync to all my files. And again, make sure that everything's clicked, and that's going to apply all those settings to everything, and the spots are removed and the floor is clean. And you'll just find that there's there might be a couple that you so that's pretty good. It's gotten most of them, but it actually gets rid of some. You might need to just go back and finesse a few where like you've maybe knocked the camera a little bit and just see that one's missed a little bit. So you can just go back and just clean it up by hand, or you can actually move the actual spot itself. But this is ends up being a much, much, much quicker way of cleaning up floors and large areas in bulk. See, this is an issue here where he's actually moved across, and I've got my that little bit of gaffer on the floor that shouldn't be there. So I've just got to go back and just get it by hand. But the majority is done in bulk. So I've also had I've had images where I've had sensor dust in the one spot over hundreds and hundreds of images, and so they've like it's been located here, and as long as there isn't anyone in the frame behind them, I can actually now then go in, clean up the dust, apply it to all of them. Or someone's got a hair on their shoulder or something like that, you can apply it to all of them. So there you go. So that's just a really quick and easy technique to clean up the floors using Lightroom.